I just wanted to be the first to congratulate you on completing your training. You have proven yourself to be the best of the best. Of course, all citizens are equally important to the war effort, but Helldivers like you are the most important. Allow me to finish up this email really quick. And there we go. All done. Who am I? Why, I am your local democracy officer and recruitment official. All newly inducted Helldivers, after completing their Helldiver basic training, are evaluated once further. I'm sure you've heard rumors of Chaos Divers. Well, I can assure you that those rumors are completely and utterly false. Helldivers should be, and are, always loyal to Super Earth and her interests. Who exactly did you hear those rumors from? Just out of curiosity. I see. Very good. What am I writing? Oh, nothing important. Let's move on, shall we? You see, this evaluation has been perfectly designed by High Command's most brilliant minds at the Ministry of Intelligence and the Ministry of Humanity to accurately get a grand look inside the minds of our Helldivers. For example, their strengths, hindrances, what they think, how they think, what they might do. You know, basic elementary school evaluations, but far more in depth. This way, High Command knows exactly which fronts you will be most effective on. Any questions, comments, concerns? Excellent. A good citizen would never question Super Earth's finest handiwork. Now, would you begin by stating your name, your rank, your Ministry of Defense number, blood type, and super security number? Yes. Excellent. Everything appears to be in order. Who could expect anything less from the powerful and just leaders in our managed democracy? Now, let's begin with the patriotism section of the test. I will ask you a series of questions, and all you have to do is answer honestly. Okay? You have nothing to worry about, I assure you. Unless you're a traitor, that is. Only a traitor would have something to hide. Now, we'll start off with the first question, a very nice and easy one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how patriotic are you feeling today? Excellent. Very, very good. You know, if they had a higher number on the scale, I would absolutely put it down. All right, and how many times do you usually sing the Super Earth National Anthem per week? Okay. Numbers could improve, but not bad. Excellent. Now, it's a bit of a more serious question, but have you had any undemocratic thoughts in the last 6 months? For example, let's say questioning orders, sympathizing with the enemies of Super Earth, to name a couple? No? Very good. have you ever skipped out on Liberty Day celebrations, such as reasons due to family emergencies, hospitalization, funerals, anything of the sort? No. Very, very good. You would be surprised how many people answer yes to those questions. As all citizens should know, Liberty Day is a mandatory holiday and can result in imprisonment or even fines. Crazy, right? People skipping out on Liberty Day. You know, I had one recruit come through the other day who said he once skipped out on the Liberty Day fireworks because he had a migraine. Nothing that a freedom camp won't sort out. No, sir. Now, on to the next question. What was your score on the Patriot entrance exam? Very, very nice score. You should be proud of that. You should be very, very proud of that. Now, for the next question. When the Second Galactic War was declared, how many super credits did you spend to support the war effort? Not great, but not terrible. It was a tough time for us all, but remember, Super Earth comes before our bills. Now, do you participate in our annual free and fair elections? It was a trick question. I'm glad you seem to be keeping well informed on Super Earth's very own trusted news source. I must say, Coretta Kelly is a phenomenal reporter. Even won the best sanctioned journalist 7 years in a row. That patriot couldn't tell a lie if she tried. I'm sure of it. Now, the last question of the Patriot portion of the test. There are no right or wrong answers. How do you think you can best serve Super Earth's interests? You are free to answer however you'd like. Just know that short responses and stammering will dock you points. No pressure, of course. What a great answer. I believe it's the best I've heard all week. Well, not bad at all, Diver. I believe now we will be moving on to the loyalty portion of the test, and I must say this one is my favorite. Now, for the first question. Have you ever, at any point at all in your life, felt empathy for bugs, bots, or squids? Good. Very good. And a follow-up question. Do you find yourself sympathizing with the enemy subconsciously? For example, you would release a beetle in your home into the front yard instead of crushing it with your boots. That's okay. It's okay. I can assure you we've all done it. Just remember that if it were a terminate, it would have grown and eaten your entire family, and you would be to blame, but thankfully, it was just a beetle. Now we have a multiple choice question. If the enemy attempted to engage in diplomacy, what would you do? Would you A, listen to what they have to say, B, attempt to apprehend them for further questioning, or C, shoot them? That is correct. The answer is C. Someone has been reading up on their training manual. You should actively target the enemies who try to engage in diplomacy, as they are the most dangerous ones. We mustn't believe their lies. All right. Here's a hypothetical scenario. If the automaton menace had your family at gunpoint, and the only way to save them was to denounce managed democracy, would you? Very wise choice. Those buckets of bolts will likely kill your family regardless, but at least your family will die with honor. And while family is valued above all else, managed democracy is even more above all else. Here's another multiple choice. If you noticed an illegal broadcast being transmitted, what would you do? Would you A, ignore it, B, listen to it, C, report it to your nearest democracy officer, or D, take it down yourself? Very good. Both C and D are correct. You should always report illegal speech, even if you are brave enough to stop it with your own freedom-loving hands. That way, our courageous democracy officers can uproot the source with extreme prejudice. See, you let the traitors take root, and they will take over just like a terminated super colony. You mustn't let it happen. Perfect. Now, this concludes the loyalty portion of the test and moves us into the optimization portion. I will ask you a series of questions about your background, your homeworld, things of that nature. This is to ensure that High Command can deploy you to an environment where your skills and experience will be most efficient in a combat setting. Though, allow me to explain a few things first. Keep in mind that you can still be dropped into any environment at a moment's notice, wherever, whenever. With that being said, you do have a higher chance of fighting on a front where the environment is at least somewhat familiar. This was just recently added to the test. Fun fact. High Command discovered that it is more optimal to have Helldivers engage in a familiar biome rather than a completely foreign one. So, to begin, let's start with your homeworld. What is the dominant climate on your homeworld? For example, is it cold, wet, hot, dry? Let's see. Excellent. Now, what was the terrain like? Is it rocky? Is it flat? Is it mountainous? Or is it cavernous? You're doing so well. And as a follow-up question, there we go. Is it urban, super urban, or rural? You know, that is the beauty of Super Earth's architecture. Once you've seen one colony, you've practically seen them all. This gives us a particular edge in urban combat against the enemies of democracy. When the rain starts pouring, it gets real hard to see in those back alleys. That's why rookies like you must hold a great deference for darkness. You must become the knights. Rural environments have their advantages too. More space, less civilian casualties, and friendly fire incidents. It happens, but personally, I can't imagine a more honorable way to die than at the hands of Super Earth's heroes themselves. We should be grateful. Now, on to the next question. Have you lived on any other planets? And if so, what was it like there? And just answer all the previous questions before pertaining to, such as the terrain and climate. And of course, if you lived in a city or a more rural colony. Now, for our next question. Which of the following environments would you say you have had experience in or have acclimated well to? And please, I cannot stress this enough. Answer honestly. I've had too many young recruits who have never seen a snowflake in their lives, and they want to go to an Arctic world for the first time, despite living on a sandy planet with 2 suns. You can imagine which ones died first of hypothermia, or say ended at the bottom of a frozen lake. One poor kid had to cut open an animal and crawl back inside just to avoid freezing to death. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. Allow me to list off the Super Earth official names for these environments. For our first category, we will go for sandy biomes. We have desert dunes, desert cliffs, acidic badlands. Now, I must say, many are put off by the word acid. Now, a little acid bath never hurt anyone, in my humble opinion. And besides, I once stepped into an acid lake and it cured my knee pain. Yes, prosthetic legs are quite the nifty piece of technology. Anyway, we also got rocky canyons and moons. A little difficult to catch your breath, but the meteor showers are something else entirely. Just watch where you're standing. Unless you want to become a part of a newly formed crater, that is. Now, moving on to the next environment, we have primordial biomes. There is the volcanic jungle, the Deadlands, the ethereal jungle, the ionic jungle, just like Malevolent Creek, where boys became men, and most recently, terminid super colonies and hive worlds. If you're used to warm, humid, wet environments, then it will do a great job at spreading democracy to those bug fascists. Now, the next one, we have Arctic biomes. This one is a fairly short list. We have icy glaciers. Watch your step, unless you like cold plunges. And we also have boneyards. Lots of extinct creatures, bones scattered all over. I had a former archaeologist want to stay there for the remainder of the war. The old inhabitants couldn't survive the environment, but our brave citizens can. Life finds a way. Now we have the moor biomes, not more, moor. We have the plains, which are fairly self-explanatory. I'm sure you can picture a plains environment just about anywhere. First thing that comes to mind. We also have tundra, which is my personal favorite. You know, the training manual recommends spending at least 2.4 seconds admiring the scenery. And I must say that the tundra is worth every millisecond. We also have the scorched moor, which is fairly warm and dry. Do be on the lookout for fire tornadoes. They can almost have a mind of their own, if you catch my drift. Some days it seems like they just follow you around. And lastly, we have ionic crimson. Now, the ion storms on these planets, they can mess with your comms, stratagems, your map, your heads-up display, but it's not too much of a nuisance, if you ask me. We will survive like our forefathers have. You know, from what I hear, back when they were going through the very first galactic war, all they got were sticks, 2 sticks, and a rock. From what I hear, they had to share the rock. Now, finally, we have swamp biomes. We have the basic swamp and the haunted swamp. Now, most aren't too fond of these environments. There's the fog, the water, the hallowed screams. But only the bravest Helldivers will embark on a quest to get our swamps back. Now, which of those following environments that I listed, of course, have you had experience living in? Do not leave out any details. All right, and which ones do you believe that you could acclimate most to? Okay. Very good, very good. And perfect. Fine. Do some data analysis over here. That only rules out a couple dozen planets. That leaves plenty of wiggle room. You can adapt to almost any environment, it seems. Very impressive. Though keep in mind, you won't spend too much time on each planet's surface. Usually little more than 40 minutes or less. In some cases. Now, I have already reached the allotted time per exam, but I sense something special about you. I really do. And I believe that my superiors will forgive me for making sure that one of our most promising cadets is well equipped to carry the torch of liberty. So, I will go over some of the most important tips in the training manual that it has to offer. I'm sure you're already well versed, but a little refresher shouldn't hurt. After all, they've been carefully calibrated for your success. Allow me to read some of them off. Don't panic. Friendly fire isn't. Don't drink and dive. Don't forget to take breaks. That is, unless you want to be remembered as a coward. When you're up against the bots, remember the 3 C's. Cover, courage, and more cover. Very good, very good. Failure to complete mission objectives will not result in you being sent to a freedom camp. Those are merely dissident rumors. If you notice a squad mate sympathizing with an enemy, report them to your local democracy officer. Thought crimes kill. Do not forget it. Practice your daily desensitization exercises to ensure you remain unfazed by enemy atrocities. Remember to fill in your C01 permit for any acts that could result in a child. If at first you don't succeed, dive again. And 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 again. Don't die. Very, very important one. Very 9 out of 10 doctors agree that a wound to the chest will make you bleed out if unattended. Seen it myself. The longer you stay on a mission, the heavier the enemy presence becomes. Which is exactly why you must make your time on the surface very quick. Do not forget those samples, though. Most enemies have both weak spots and armored spots. The SEAF training manual recommends aiming for the weak spots. And lastly, you are Super Earth's elite. Remember that. Well, I believe that covers just about all of it. The more ambiguous portions of the tests still have yet to be evaluated, but judging by how well you answered on other parts of the test, I believe you're ready for your first mission. Here is your rifle, Liberator. There you are. Hold it nice and strong. Looking like a professional already. Feel the liberty coursing through your veins. With this weapon, you will plant the seeds of freedom inside the hearts, minds, and skulls of the enemy. And from their corpses, managed democracy will grow. Well, I believe it is now time for your assignment. You will be assigned to the SES Lord of Iron, currently operated by callsign Carl the Kriegsman. You have nothing to fear. I made sure you got selected to serve among the best of the best. He will teach you all the ropes, and one day you'll be as skilled and handsome as he is. I'm sure of it. May liberty guide your step, Helldiver. Remember, freedom conquers all.